sometimes it doesn't. There's different experiences and different life experiences that we go through. So I want to introduce you to Gary and Evelyn's son, and they are, get my notes. They are from Beijing, China, and you were both born in Taiwan, and you're Chinese Americans. So Gary, you came over here to America when you were a young child, 14. Okay, and then Evelyn, you soon followed when you guys got married. And you have 2 sons, and then you are now returnees. Is that what I understand? You're returnees to China. What does that mean exactly? Oh, sorry.
Oh, they forgot to give him a microphone.
That was something that I was supposed to take care of during that little intermission time, and I didn't. There's just some things a new MC is learning along the way. Oh yes, the gold microphone is better. There's some extra power to it, some glittering. I don't know.
It's a privilege to have the gold microphone. So, no, I think returning means that I take a job assignment back to China working. So I've been working in China for almost 17 years. I'm currently working for Microsoft, so I've been on assignment for the last 16 plus years.
Now you both have been speakers with FamilyLife for about 4 years. Now I want you to back up a little bit. For before you became speakers, when was your first touch point with FamilyLife? When did you get to know FamilyLife?
I think it was about 2012, and that's actually we moved from Shanghai back to Beijing. We were actually asked by Jim and Judy, girls, to attending that art of marriage, yes. So that's around 2012.
So that was your first exposure. What did you think about FamilyLife at that time?
I think during that time, our communication skill was like whenever it goes to hard things that we just don't talk about it. And I remember the first night attending the Art of Marriage. If you have ever watched that the film, when the husband was holding the football, like protecting the wife, I start bawling, I start crying, and there are a lot of bitterness inside of me. Unresolved bitterness probably has never been communicated. And actually, to be honest, that time, we didn't finish the whole session. After the first night, we came out as an excuse that I didn't want to go on anymore. We didn't finish that weekend.
So why become speakers with FamilyLife? There had to have been from the time that you were exposed to FamilyLife and the time that you said, okay, I don't want to go on anymore. What was between that? Why come on staff and become speakers with FamilyLife?
To be honest, originally it was something because our kids, we got 2 boys, and one of us is already in college, and second one's ready to go to college. So we're going to become empty nest, and we thought we're going to do something together that we can contribute back. But let alone, I think what really got us was that has really helped our own marriage being part of the family life. And I think that's probably the biggest gift that I ever got, I feel.
Now you guys are incredibly busy. As I read a little write-up that Jim Burrows put together, you have a lot going on. You care for your elderly parents in Taiwan, so you traveled there often. Evelyn, you lead worship at your church. You're a popular women's speaker for MOPS. You are in leadership for BSF. And Gary, you travel frequently for your job. So I'm just tired just thinking about all the extracurricular activities that you guys do, and yet you make time, in your free time, you speak for FamilyLife. Why?
I'll go first. You can add to it. Again, I feel like, we live in China for so long, and we definitely see the needs in China. And also hearing David talked about, the boomers, Generation X, as well as millennials. Just share a little bit, in China, if you look at the boomers, those times are like the revolutionary war, right? China Revolution. So you got that generation, and what they learn is that they don't feel trust. They don't trust anybody. They're very selfish. And think about how they raise their children, which is the Generation X, right? They become very selfish. And then that's also the migration piece. That's when the people are migrated to work in this, what we call the tier 1 cities, like in Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. So when they come to the migration is, they don't take their family, right? So what they do, they leave their children in the villages, right? So guess what? So these children are growing up without a modeling parent, right? That's the millennials. So I think we have a lot of opportunities how we can set good role models about marriage and how to, really influence the people, the couples in China, and to set a good example about what marriage is about, and hopefully that they can learn and adopt what we're preaching there.
Well, and I understand that you guys are very vulnerable as you speak to your audience and as you share experiences from your own life. And there's one story that you guys have shared many times over and over from your own life, and God has used that to open the eyes and the hearts of many people. Can you share about that story? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
The conflict?
Yes, the conflict resolution talk.
Yeah. And I remember when a newly trained leader, we do one subject at a time, and Judy and Jim at that time always give us the easier one first and then go on to another one. When it comes to the conflict one, it's almost like I was taking a risk. And Gary, I told Gary, said, we're gonna share that story. Gary said, we are. And I remember the first time we shared about probably in there already, share about the first time that we, when we moved, there's another move from Beijing to Shanghai, and we were under a lot of stress, and that we just lost it, that we started yelling at each other, and that really hurt our kids. And then I remember the first time we shared about this, we both were in tears. I think during the preparation, I had this fear that say, God, am I digging out a lot of wound that I cannot even repair? Actually, personally, I think for our relationship, through sharing those deep, deep hurts, that how we reconcile, that brought actually, when we bring back again, that brought a lot of healing through that. We thought that we are digging out the dirt, but actually when we expose it to the light, we experienced healing. And then that, after we shared, there's a couple that came to us. They were crying, saying, that's us. And they were about to get divorced. But they say they hear about this and they can relate. They have two boys that they realized that the two boys are hurting. The conflict between husband and wife is not only affecting themselves, and during the conflict we only see ourselves, but actually the family member, our children, that was affected was, yeah.
Wow.
So
what did that do to your heart to know how God was using you?
It was humbling. It was, yeah.
It was humbling, fulfilling, and for us or for me, is how we can make an impact, to these other couples, and especially the husband too. And the other husband was actually in tears as well, because I think he was, because he was really thinking about divorce, the couple. And after they hear our talk, and I think what really touched them, because I think I'm going to touch a little bit, I think it's really when the big fight that we had, and how we just neglect our children until that she went into the room and see both of them are just like, in their beds and just like covered up and shivering. And then they come in and say, I mean, I wasn't there. I mean, she visited them and basically they turn around just like, one was in tears and asking her questions saying, are you guys gonna get a divorce? Right, so I think that's the things, we gotta be careful about how you fight as parents, right? How you're affecting the children. I think that's what touched the couple. And I think they were doing the same thing. And after they heard our story, I think that really touched them.
And one another amazing thing is the wife said, the faith, the God that you were talking about, what is it? How can I get in touch with that God? And I said, I wasn't even ready. We were thinking like, we're not gonna push you, but she said, what is that God? Tell me more about it. I said, do you want to believe in that God? And she said, yes, tell me. And then we just let them, we were like, okay. And we just led them to Christ right on that spot. You know? And she said, okay, now that I believe, where's the church? Tell me where the church is. We were supposed to go to church. So it was like, all of a sudden that God put something in front of us, and we were like, okay. And then there's a certain area that she told us that she lived in a certain area. I happen to know the friend that could get them connected. That was Saturday, Sunday, they showed up at church. So it wasn't that we make effort to reach out to people. God brought people saying, tell me about this God. Tell me where the church is.
You were faithful to share your story. And that is so neat. That's so neat. Do you still know this couple?
Yeah.
Are they doing well?
They're doing pretty well. Yeah, they're continue to go to church.
That's really neat to hear. Okay, share with me what is maybe one of the biggest challenges that you guys face in ministry and how we can be praying for you guys.
When I saw the question saying, ask why, and how do you can, who do you talk to or which family you can turn into a godly family, that immediately hit me because I thought, that's our own family, to be honest. Right? I feel like we're continuing to learn as husband and wife. We have heart for God, for Jesus. But I don't think we're, from my point of view, I don't feel like we're doing enough of that within our own family, especially to our children. Now they're not living with us, but I feel a little bit resentful. Well, I don't want to use the word resentful, but I feel a little bit, it's like, okay, I wish I could have done more when they're living with us. And especially watching the Arrows yesterday, the movie and all that stuff. I mean, just self-reflection. I feel like I got to start with my family first.
Amen.
Yeah.
Evelyn, do you have any?
And also for, Gary touched a lot about like the core of our concern, and I'm sorry, I will get that very emotional. And then also this morning, talk about when Pastor Brandon talked about how can you tell a person that have never seen, never had an eyesight to describe the color. And I think we are in a land that I was thinking about the family, like in China, that we are sharing about family value. And I wrote down on my notes, say, how can you describe commitment to people that has never experiencing faithful relationship? So I think personally we, I think we continue the ministry start from our own family, but also I think I grieve for that. That has something, I guess, something we long for God to do more.
Amen. We will definitely be praying for you. And we're going to have some prayer time in a little bit. And so just keep remembering these prayer requests. And we will definitely be praying for you. Would you thank Gary and Evelyn?